Hello and welcome back to another Rise of Empires Ice and Fire video with me, Mr. Gill. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you so much for all of your previous likes, views, comments, suggestions, subscriptions, and all of that jazz. I absolutely adore you. Thank you so much. Please, let's keep it up. Like this video if you can, subscribe if you want to, and we will continue to do cool stuff together. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are in Beta Ray Gill, my new account in 431. This is the account that we are basically kind of trying to learn some of the basics again, go through some of the efficiencies of how you should run a new account, and a new account with farms. So we currently have 6 farms available, maybe 7. I can't keep count. Basically we are trying to level everything up as we go. We can see here that in this main account we are now castle level 10. We could probably do 11, can we? No, we need to do a little bit more stuff before we do 11. That's fine. But anyway, today we are going to be talking about being R5. Okay, so let's go through the basics. When you start an alliance, you are then the R5 of that alliance. The R5 is the leader, the master, the lord, the commander, basically the top of the tree in any alliance. The R5 can do pretty much every single task. What do you mean pretty much? You can do 100% of every task within the alliance, and the idea is that an R5 is somebody who guides, shapes, and leads the alliance through to glory, victory, and winning the ultimate game. That said, you need to decide which R5 you are going to be, what type of R5, and how you are going to lead your troops and your members in order to achieve greatness. Now, I have a particular theory, a particular way of playing this game, and for me, and I've said this many times before in many videos, I play the game more to be involved with the people I play with than to be the best. So every alliance that I have ever led has not so much been about being the absolute best, but it has been about growing together, helping each other, learning together, and becoming stronger that way. That way I've forged many good friendships with many people in the game, and people that I still play with now after a couple of years. And that feels to me more important than being the top boss, so to speak. What I must say is that R5 is not necessarily a easy role to inhibit. Now, obviously, this is just a game, so everything we're talking about must be seen through that prism of just being a game. But being an R5 or even being an R4 is a job within the game. And if you ever get to any sort of level within the kingdom, so your alliance is maybe in the top 3 or something, you will find that it is an exceptionally long job which requires a lot of your time and a lot of your diplomacy. First and foremost, as an R5, I believe that you should be leading by example, and that usually means I would expect most R5s to be at the very least among the top 5 players in that alliance. Okay, you cannot just be, oh, I'm castle level 10 and I'll just wait for everybody, and there's stronger people than me. This game is about power, and fundamentally there is a perception that if you are powerful, you are more knowledgeable and you are better at the game. While I disagree with that a little bit, it does actually mean, and that's the way your members are going to look at it, is you need to be powerful in order to lead them. They will respect you a little bit more if you have more power than they do. So if you are going to be R5, you need to be on top of your game. You need to be as fast as possible. You need to be as strong as you possibly can. And you need to be as active as you possibly can. At a bare minimum for any sort of alliance with, say, 100 members in it, I would expect the R5 to be on for a minimum of 6 hours per day. Absolute minimum in order to effectively lead their team. Now, that said, you do have a group of R4. So underneath you, there are the 8 ranks of R4. And those people can be very, very useful as well. And you should definitely make sure that you have a good team. In my opinion, a democratic vote is the best way to make any R4. Now, if you have started the alliance, I believe that you should be able to hold your position as R5 for as long as you see fit. However, if you notice that you do have a number of very good R4s, I often see nothing wrong with holding an election for R5 position as well. If you've done your job right, you'll be voted back in as an R5. If you haven't, somebody better in the R4s will be voted, and you should accept that and see it as a as a recommendation of your training of the people below you. There's nothing wrong with somebody you've trained becoming and taking over your position. That should just reflect better on you. So, in my view, democratic votes are the best way to do it, and I usually would run a vote every 2 to 3 months, or when there's certain situations within the game. So, often at the start of a Reign of Chaos season, or at the end of a Reign of Chaos season, I think there's a good chance to hold a vote and replace or update any of the R4 and R5 ranks. Now, you need to do this not only because people grow powerful, but because some people will be more or less active over time. You will also see during the Reign of Chaos that there will be some people who are very, very good at it, who understand the Reign of Chaos game effectively well, and those people usually you would want as R4s. The second most important thing in terms of being an R5 is the diplomacy. If you're going to be an R5, you need to be discussing with not only the other alliances within your kingdom, but you need to be making connections with the other alliances within the kingdoms surrounding yours. It is not good enough just to know a few of the top people in the game. You need to know the people who you're going to be facing when Reign of Chaos comes up, when Clash of Provinces comes up. This will help you in the long term in case you ever need to merge in the future, in case you want to do deals for points in Reign of Chaos in the future. It is really important that you spend a significant amount of time running diplomacy, making friends, and helping each other out. This means going into the province chat as often as you can. This means private messaging people and having a chat with them and making friends that way. But it is super important. If you are going to be a loner R5, you will find things a lot harder because, as I said, people will not know who you are. They won't necessarily respect you as the R5 of an alliance if they don't really know, they never had much connection with you. Please remember, this is a massively multiplayer online game, and it is multiplayer. Yeah, so you're not just playing by yourself. You are playing with other people. If you just want to play by yourself, I suggest choosing another game. This is about talking with people. This is about connecting with people. This is about diplomacy. The third thing that's really important is having a clear guideline for the alliance research. Okay, so we've talked about this in a previous video, and hopefully if I remember, I can link it right up there now. But basically, you should have a clear plan for research. Your R4s should know this clear plan because they can choose the research as well if you're not online. But there should be a clear plan about what you are aiming for. In the previous video, I believe I broke down the mathematics of what should be a good alliance research for the first couple of ones. But I definitely suggest that once you've got through to the second level, basically you've researched some of this, some of this, some of this. I always try and go for these combat buffs here. So elite cavalry, elite archers, and elite footmen. I do believe that they are the best way to go in terms of the alliance. I think in terms of the development, there are some important things here. The Alliance Institute is kind of fun. And all of these kind of increasing the amount of production that each alliance member can have is kind of good as well. However, they're not as important as an extra 5% on your cavalry, and I think that can actually lead to a better result for you in the long term. That's just my view. As I said, check out the video below, above and kind of follow that. But make sure you do have a clear plan as an R5 and that it is communicated very well to everybody within your alliance. That brings us to the fourth point, communication. Communication is absolute key. I would say at a bare minimum, you would want to be communicating with your alliance through messages or through a separate online chat app, either Discord or Line or Band or WhatsApp or whatever you want to use, some form of TeamSpeak app. Basically, you want to be communicating on a daily basis. I think even if you don't have much to say, it is very good to touch base with everybody in your alliance. Say hello. Give them a lot of, make them feel good, effectively. Kind of give them a little bit of a G up and try and inspire them a little bit. Give them a quick, this is what we should be focused on today. Maybe some tasks, or this is what's coming up this weekend is going to be kill event. Don't forget tomorrow is a training troops event. All of those kinds of things, just to make sure that your alliance is still working together, is still on the right path, and you are communicating effectively to them. Now, a lot of people in the game don't necessarily read the mails, and obviously there is always the issue of communication and the translator. So it does become a little bit difficult, and I'll be honest with you. I've run alliances with 100 people in it, and I know only 50 people are reading the mails on a daily basis, but I do still think it is worth it to do it every day. And if you started off early enough, this constant daily communication through mailing or through an external service, I do think you will find that people will get used to it and then they'll read it more. If they're used to a message every day, they will look for that message every day. I think that communication is really key, as well as obviously being in the Alliance chat, having a chat with people and making sure everybody's doing all right. I do think it's very important not just to focus on the game. So it's always good to say, hey, I hope everybody's doing well. Don't forget to do this today in the game. But also to say, I hope everybody's having a good day. How you doing? Hey, look at you. How's the weather over in wherever you live in that part of the world, etc., etc. Again, it's building that rapport, it's building that communication, it's building that trust between your members, and reminding yourself that this is an online game and you do rely on these people you play with. And if you do play with them well, and if you do communicate well, you will make friends, and that's always a nice thing to do, isn't it? Who doesn't like friends? I like a friends. No, not really. And the last thing I think that's really important is that you must be ready to protect your Alliance members, often at a loss of your own. Now, this is something I've actually struggled with over the many years, is that, being a player who's played quite a lot and made a lot of videos about stuff, say one of my smaller members is, he attacks somebody and then he gets attacked back and he's like, oh no, everybody protect me. I find that very hard sometimes to end up protecting him, because I'm like, you brought this on yourself. If you're not being smart and thinking about how you use, your stamina and who you attack, and you end up getting hit by somebody a bit bigger, that's kind of your fault, and you should learn a lesson from that. However, there is an element that we should always try and protect all of our members, even if it is somewhat to the detriment of ourselves. This gets a little bit tricky, obviously, if you have a kill event. During the first couple of kill events, I always recommend that nearly everybody shields, unless they're really ready to go for it, and then that becomes a personal decision. But I'm going to find it very hard to back up or reinforce somebody who hasn't shielded, who hasn't really listened to what we've been saying, be careful, get ready, kill event is happening, and then they would expect me to protect them. That's a little bit like, meh. So there is that element of protection, and I do think it's an important thing for an R5 to do, but I don't necessarily think that it should happen for every single instance. You need to kind of judge if that member is deserving of your protection. Is that all? I think that is about all. Basically, guys, a lot of people ask me about how to be an R5, how to build an alliance, how to do these things. And a lot of these things are not necessarily game mechanics. They are more personal mechanics. They are about you as a player. They're about your members. And they're about actually the people you're playing with in your current province or the provinces around you. So they're very hard to give you hard and fast rules about what you should do when and how you should do it, because it is not a game mechanic. It is a people mechanic. However, I think if you try to lead with it by example, if you talk constantly to not just your own members, but members of other alliances, other R5s, and people in other provinces, if you make sure you have a clear plan, that you communicate well in terms, not only just in terms of research, but in terms of this is what's coming next, make sure you're ready for this event, etc., etc. And if you try as hard as possible to protect your members whenever you can, I do believe that if you follow those kind of guidelines, those rough guidelines, you will end up with a good, strong, growing alliance. Remember, an alliance is about helping each other to grow together. It is far more effective to grow within an alliance than it is to grow as a single player. So if you are going to be an R5, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. You want to help each other and you want to grow together with a team. If you just want to be the boss because you've got that sort of personality, you want to be the biggest and the baddest, I would suggest you just be an R4 for a while until you've earned a little bit of humility. Anyway, that's my thoughts on being an R5. I hope you enjoyed it. Anybody down below, please let me know what you think. And if you think I've got it wrong or right or all of that kind of jazz. If you disagree with me, I'll kill you. But basically, that's my kind of 2 cents on the issue. Thank you so much for watching. Please click that like, subscribe if you can. And I think today is a Manchego day. Manchego is a Spanish cheese. Goes very, very well with kind of fruits, in my view. It's a little bit of a hard cheese. And I definitely, if I was you, have a look, check it out, and give it a taste. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you soon. Bye. Hello.